Hello fellow cyborgs, and welcome to a double book review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the two published works by Kirsty Logan, The Rental Heart and Other Fairytales, and The Gracekeepers. So let's start off with The Gracekeepers, shall we, since it's been getting a lot of attention on the booktubes. So apart from this being a beautiful book, this is the UK edition that I especially ordered because the US and Canadian edition pales in comparison. Here, this is what it looks like. Why did they do this? Why do publishers do this? Leave me in the comments down below why publishers do this. But anyway, apart from this being a beautiful book as an object, it has been widely described as a beautiful book as far as the story goes. But frankly, that tells you absolutely nothing. But before we get into the book review, you are owed a book haiku. Silky blue mornings sway in the salty sea air. Rock, coracle, rock. Now, one thing other reviews may not have told you about this book, and what I found to be its primary quality, what I kept fixating on, is that it is such a slow and calm read. And I don't mean slow as in it was boring and I wanted it to pick up. That's its essence. That's what it is. It reminded me very much of how I would imagine drifting in a calm sea. That's just the tone of this book. It's subtle and quiet in like an unsupposing way. It reminds me of the characters themselves. Both Callanish and North are these easily overlooked or overlookable, quiet, not showy women who end up being marvelous. This has a whole cast of characters, and my goodness, they are all people. And even though there were like technical bad guys in this, I didn't hate them. They were still people who had redeeming qualities. Kirsty Logan did a wonderful job of fleshing out all of the characters that she produced. It was just a joy to get to know every single one of them. I think The Gracekeepers is a book that really benefits from rereading, especially since I went into it thinking it would be something quite different. I would love to reread it and go back knowing what I'm in for and picking up on some of the nuances that I may not have treasured as much the first go around. I think another thing that a lot of people don't talk about is that The Gracekeepers has LGBTQ themes, and it is at the end of the day not only a modern fairy tale, not only a futuristic, questionably post-apocalyptic book, not only a water-drenched world, but a love story. So if any of those things appeal to you and you are a bit skeptical about the hype around this book, I recommend that you give it a shot anyway. Moving right along to The Rental Heart and Other Fairytales. This was published before The Gracekeepers, and it is a collection of short stories. Most, if not all, of these short stories were previously published in magazines or other collections. They have been collected into her first bounded work. But again, before we get ahead of ourselves, book haiku. Old words in new flesh drip through the years, slow and sure. Now we know their faces. This is a really quick read. I finished it in a day without even trying to do so. The stories I found were really compelling and fast-paced. This is heavily LGBTQ themed, so if you're looking for a bunch of short stories that have that theme, this is a great place to start. A lot of these tales, though derived from fairy tales or the essence of fairy tales pervade them, they're very lusty, which I was surprised by given the slow and steady, calm, and eloquent nature of The Gracekeepers. But hey, that's a very relevant aspect of the original fairy tales, so Kirsty Logan got it right anyway. I really liked this collection. A lot of the stories, as I said, were fun. Most of them explore love and relationships and how things can be not quite so predictable as some other stories can be. If you are at all intrigued by this, I highly recommend that you give it a try. It's not going to take too much of your effort to get through, and there is a lot to be explored within these pages. In case you're morbidly curious, I gave The Gracekeepers 4 out of 5 stars and The Rental Heart and Other Fairy Tales 3 out of 5 stars on my Goodreads account. I hope you have enjoyed your introduction to Kirsty Logan and her current works. I have in fact pre-ordered A Portable Shelter, which is coming out in August. It sounds enchanting. The premise of it, if I remember correctly, a couple is expecting a baby and both have sworn not to tell the baby any untruths, and yet stories run so deep in their blood that both have come up with ways to whisper fairy tales to their child without the other one knowing they're doing so. Jen Campbell has already read an advanced reader's copy and loved it even more than The Gracekeepers. I am so very excited, and I am eager to give this a 5-star, which would be perfect with The Rental Heart, her first published work, getting a 3, and then 4 from The Gracekeepers and 5 from A Portable Shelter. So hopefully that comes to pass, but I will let you know either way. Please leave me in the comments down below a book recommendation for me based off of The Gracekeepers. I really enjoyed this sort of book, and if you have anything that at all echoes what The Gracekeepers is all about, please let me know. Thank you for watching. I hope you read some lovely books, and until next time, continue to be lovely yourself.